Hi, welcome to How to D&D. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5e and using a pre-generated character sheet. I'm going to be using the pre-generated character sheets from the Dungeons & Dragons 5e starter set. Now, I've done a review on this particular product before. It's a really good product, and there's a few things I want to say about pre-generated character sheets. They are by far the best way to start learning how to play Dungeons & Dragons 5e. It's really difficult for anybody getting into the game to learn how to build a character if they've not actually done it before. Character creation is actually quite complex. There are many options available. Honestly think that it's a great starting point for new players. Playing the game with other people, the best way to actually get into the game and stay playing the game. We want people to join and stay with it. And if you want to avoid new players getting scared off or overwhelmed by character creation, then use a pre-generated character sheet. The great thing about the starter set character sheets in particular is these character sheets, not only are they pre-made, but they actually show you and explain how to level up the characters as you go, which can be very helpful to a new player. Now, if you want more classes and you want access to different features and so forth for Dungeons & Dragons 5e, then there's a website that actually lists a whole bunch of pre-generated characters that you can use, and all that information is taken from the player's handbook, so you can expand the number because you only get the 4 basic classes in the starter set. Now, I will put a link in the description where you can access the starter set pre-generated characters and those additional pre-generated characters that are built on the mechanics from the player's handbook. Now, I want to go over the actual mechanics and the location of different things on your pre-generated character sheet. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Now, right now you can see there's a character sheet for the rogue. There's 2 character sheets for the fighter. There's one for a cleric, and there's also one for a wizard. Now, I don't think the best solution is to start with any of those. I always start with the fighter. The fighter is by far the simplest character out of all of them to understand, so I'm going to get rid of everything else and I'm going to stick with this particular character sheet. I'm going to run you through basically where everything is and what it does. First of all of your ability scores are listed down the side here. Now, it's not the big number that you're interested in. It's actually the smaller number. The smaller number is called the ability modifier. So whether you have strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma, you have a modifier for that. And you're going to take that particular value, the smaller number, and you're going to add that to a 20-sided dice roll when you're making ability checks. When you're looking for your skills, because you might have to do something involving a skill, you're going to find them listed along here in this box here. And it actually tells you what they are. They're not terribly difficult to understand. Something like animal handling sort of suggests that you're going to be handling an animal or try to deal with it in some way. Stealth suggests that you're going to be sneaking around. Perception suggests that you're going to be looking or hearing or smelling something. So it is pretty simple to understand. Now, you'll notice along the character sheet there are little circles next to the different skills. Now, each one that is circled in dark, that's one that you're proficient in, which means you've got that particular value going to be a little bit higher. So you're going to be taking whatever ability modifier relates to that skill, and your proficiency bonus, which is listed up here, is going to be added to that. Now, that's already factored in on your pre-generated character sheet, so you don't have to worry about calculating it. Now, when it comes to saving throws, this is when something bad tends to happen to your character or you have to fight off the effects of something. All of your saving throws are listed here. Now, the ones that are darkened, the circles that are darkened, these are ones that you're proficient, you're better at them than other things. So these are your saving throws listed here, and you'll take that number and you'll add that to your 20-sided dice roll when you're asked to make a saving throw. All of your proficiencies in languages are listed here, so that could be proficiencies with tools, armor, weapons of some kind. It might be some sort of vehicle. You could be proficient with land vehicles. It will list all the languages that you understand. Next we have our armor class. Really important, when we get to combat, you're going to need to know exactly what is my armor class. What is the value? It's right here under armor class. Your initiative modifier is usually going to be exactly the same as your dexterity modifier. So you'll see that the modifier was a -1. It's also a -1 for your initiative. When you're looking for your speed, it's listed right here. Most characters have a speed of 30 feet. If you're a little bit shorter than normal size, then you're going to find yourself with about 25 feet worth of movement, or 25 feet of speed available to you. Your hit points are listed here. This is basically what keeps you standing. It's a pool of, sometimes you could call it health, but it's a whole lot of other things. I've got a video that explains what hit points are, and you could watch that if you feel inclined. There's a section for calculating and keeping a track of temporary hit points. All of your hit dice, this is your pool that you're going to use for your short rest. After a short rest, you can use your pool of hit dice to actually get back hit points you might have lost during a fight, or in some other situation where you've lost hit points, and that's listed right here. Now you'll notice on the pre-generated character sheet, it states on this one that you get to roll 1d10, so that's a 10-sided dice, but it doesn't state that you also get to add your modifier for your constitution. So make sure that you add +2, for this character it's +2 because that's the modifier for constitution. Make sure you add that to your hit dice when you're using it. I've got a video that explains how short rests work as well. Your death saves, your failures and your saves for death saving are listed here. So you have your failures, and your successes can be crossed off or ticked or circled in or coloured in some way. All sits right here. Most important is your ability to fight. So different weapons have different effects. So your attack modifier, so when you make an attack, you're going to add your attack modifier here. It's listed right there to a 20-sided dice roll. So for this one, it has a great axe and a javelin. Next to that, it states what the damage is. And this particular great axe does 1d12, which is a 12-sided dice, and then you add 3, and it's going to do slashing damage. And that's how much damage you'll do when you strike a creature, a monster, or something like that. So your attack bonus is here, your damage is here, and underneath it highlights any special sort of features that might apply to your character. Down here is all of your equipment. Your gold is listed here. Over here you'll find things like your personality traits, your ideals, your bonds, and your flaws. Now these are mostly roleplay elements that you can use. This is a guide to you, and you can change these. There's no problem with changing these. It's a pre-generated character, so you might find you don't like them, but you can change them or just work with them. They are just a guide to how your character would operate, and yeah, they can change over time as well. Down here, all of your special class abilities are listed, plus any sort of racial benefits that you might gain. Now this particular character is human, so there's not a lot of special abilities listed for a human. Humans just get more skills and some feats and so forth when they're starting out, if feats are being used in your game, that is. So it's got second wind, there's a special fighter ability, and it also states how the fighting style that you've selected works. So this one's got a defender, and then anything else that you might need to sort of remember. There's a section usually listed on here that explains how your background works, and it's a descriptive section where it sort of states roughly how that might sort of work given your situation. Now I'm going to flip it over, because the great thing about these character sheets is it actually explains a lot more. That's the basic gist of it, but on the back it's going to give you a rundown of humans and what they're sort of like. It's going to give you a little bit of information on the fighter, and it gives you background on that particular character, which is really, really helpful. So it gives you something to sort of start off, so you know what this character is going to do. Now right over here is gaining levels. It explains in detail quite clearly what happens when you level up to to level 2, level 3, level 4 and level 5. So you don't have to try to figure that out yourself by looking through the player's handbook. Now that's really all I have on pre-generated character sheets. By far the smartest way to get into the game, get started, just play the game, grab yourself a pre-generated character sheet and just get on with it. You don't have to learn how to create a character straight away. Now if you found this video helpful or informative, please share, like and subscribe. Make a comment below if you have any questions about pre-generated character sheets, and till next time, keep rolling those 20s.